Hello, this is Coach Ruckman, and I'm going to continue, and maybe it's a series you've been watching or a standalone video, but I've kind of gone over the midline a little bit and the inside veer a little bit, and now I'm going to touch on the outside veer, a complementary play to all those. Usually, though, in your packages, outside veer is something that's run a little less of the time, and we'll explain that right now. So let me go ahead and set up again the typical formation if you've been watching. Again, this is something like a lot of major colleges have run, your double tight slot look, spreading the field with the wide receivers out there on the edges. I don't know if you can get that in the video. But whereas the midline and the inside veer, midline, remember, is run to the 3 tech. The inside veer, you try to find the 1. And they're very good against 40 fronts. Remember, also the midline can be good against the 50. Just requires a little tweaks in your general blocking rules. Now, where the outside veer comes in is, again, in the way I explain it, take it for what it's worth, is whenever the A and B gaps are covered up to a side. Generally, though, if they're covered up to a side, they're going to be covered up to both sides. But an example of, say, an outside veer play, especially when you start getting people stacking the box against you, they start, showing up in 60 fronts and 50s with a lot of tight players out there on the edges. Really, I look at something like whenever, again, you get to where the A and B gaps are covered up on both sides. Tackle, maybe an end, maybe a backer walked up, depending on what you have going on. A lot of times, though, the more people you get in the box, the more man you're going to see out here. Let me give you like a little 6'2" here. Oh, no, wait. Right, there you go. All right, so this would be an instance here where you definitely would be looking at, well, let's go through our rules, okay? You want to run the midline to the 3 tech. Well, you could consider both of these guys a 3 tech. The problem is the A gaps are covered as well, so you don't have the ability to rip to backers. You just don't have good numbers in there. And then the outside veer, you run to a 5. Well, you got a couple 5s out here, but the problem is, again, is that there's 2 players on the inside of the 5s. So what I look for, and I try to get quarterbacks to look for, outside veer becomes an option when A and B gaps are covered. So right now we have a situation where A and B gaps are covered. Obviously, they're trying to stop the inside run. You can't run midline. Inside veer is not an option. Well, like any offensive coordinator, you're trying to go where the defense is not. So here, you would get in a little more of an outside veer situation. Now, in the outside veer, if you remember, on the inside veer, we had play side A or Y arc in the corner. That's off now because the rules for pretty much inside veer and outside veer are the same. For these individuals in here, for the most part, you can make them very similar. But now the play side wings rule has changed drastically. So let's just say, might look at, well, where's their tightest player or their weakest player? Right now, say there's a linebacker here, and say that's a regular defensive end. All right, well, I might want to go ahead and attack that defensive end rather than a linebacker, or maybe the end is way better. But that's a game plan thing. Let's just go to our right for right now. All right, in this situation right here, again, you have your normal pre-snap motion. Remember, the midline track for the H and midline was the inside foot, or the play side foot of the center. For the inside veer, the inside foot of the guard. And I was going to keep it simple. Outside veer, the inside foot of the tackle is really where we're trying to hit. Okay, so right now let's concentrate on play sign. What I would have this person do is, especially they're in some type of man, I would do some type of run off to stalk. That's what I would do. If they're a man, get that corner turn, get him out of there. If he keeps on running with you, keep on running. But they're playing some type of soft or head up man, maybe like a pro, they got really good corner out there, something like you see pro playing a lot of man head up, then it would be run off to stalk. So I'd be running off, that cornerback would be dropping. As soon as his hips drop to come up, well then now we turn it into a stalk. Obviously, I would prefer go ahead and always seal the inside, try to push them to the sideline. But just like with any Veer, you're looking for good down blocks. Right in here, you have a good solid down block there on the nose. Have a good solid down block there on the tackle. And again, if you watch my inside Veer, these, especially this block, is a little different. You could get maybe a typical double team right there. Remember, make sure that they're not pushing the nose towards the play. The center usually always they need to come out and lick people in these double teams, but they need to let the guard kind of overtake the action, because the guard is always going to be coming down trying to move them away from the play. So here you want to get a good fire by your center, but you also want to make sure that the guard gets to overtake and keep pushing the play that way. Here, this is probably the most difficult block, but one that's important to teach again. Helmet across on this down block. Helmet across and drive. We need a good flat line of scrimmage here. Do not put your helmet on the outside, because that guy, if I block him helmet on the outside, the guy's going to bleed on in through the gap. Really hammer down, helmet across the bow, as they may call it, and block this person down. Now you're getting a little bit of a help. This is where it's important to have wings that are definitely, decent size, like really big slots, or full-on running back sizes, because what they're doing is they're going to go ahead and push down what I call help to backer. They're going to fire off, they're going to get their hand almost like a rugby scrum on that tackle, help him push him down through the gap, and then they're going to peel off and block that play side linebacker. Now you already see, I believe, the number advantage you're creating by going to the outside Veer. And backside, you just go ahead and again, you got to chop these guys down. Again, not blocking the backside away from the play, just like an option. You need to have a reverse here and there, or a counter that's going to keep that guy occupied. That's the only player over there. If he's somehow chasing this stuff down, you got to have a counter or something to make that person stay at home over there. All right, this guy you're just counting on again, being taught all week, check for trap, cutback, counter. He's not really a fast flow guy. Plus, you get a good double team here to pin him in, or again, anything with this wing sealing to create trash to kind of flow over top of. All right, now, so we're attacking the inside foot of the tackle. Quarterback's opens flat down the line, almost like he's sprinting, or we just take one super long step down the line to get to mesh, and then that next step is the read, and then the third step is pushing off to run, either with the ball or carry out the fake. A flat step down the line, of course the A is going to maintain pitch relationship. Say the end is up the field, well, you got a good running back right here where he's one-on-one with the free safety for a touchdown, save and tackle. Again, you got to, like any time your running back is in space with one person and the touchdown's a result. The defense is going to make tackles, but a lot of times you can get a one-on-one in open field like you've already created here, you're going to be successful a lot of those times. Okay, now let's go back. Say the end comes down and just tackles the running back. Well, now look at what you've created. Major, massive numbers advantages. Say the free's got to run down, can only take one of you. The free runs down, you got the pitch out there, and again, once again, just like the inside Veer, you've created a one-person advantage on some side of the field. So again, this is great for any type of 50 look or 60 look. What you're looking for, remember, is, let me erase all this here, is A gap and B gap defenders. A gap and B gap defenders. And you may get something a little looser than this, because to be honest with you, in that I might check to something else we'll go over. But you never know how people are going to line up against you. You may get some people deciding they're going to take away the gaps there and they're going to go ahead and play loose. with the backers. Either way, you still got that great angle block. So anytime that you see A and B gap defenders, don't hesitate. Go to outside veer. They're taking away the inside. Get outside. Get your option. You got a man advantage out there. Again, Coach Ruckman, thanks a bunch. If you have any follow-ups or I wasn't clear on anything, just get in touch with me. Thank you.